let's talk about anchor text variety. You've heard me use this word, but I know 10 to 20% of you are out there going, Cyrus, what are you talking about anchor text variety? I still don't quite get what you're talking about. All right, so here is a graphic explanation. Anchor text variations, all the different ways. If I want to link, if this was my page on recipes, Pinch of Yum, wonderful website with wonderful recipes, will probably be replaced by Chat GPT. But in the meantime, it's a great recipe site. If I want to link to this page, there are many different ways that I can do it. I can do it in the navigation. I can link with recipes on another page. I can say it's tasty dishes, top rated dishes. Click here, terrible anchor text. I can use the URL as anchor text. Our favorite dishes, read more. All of these represent like 7 different ways that I can link to this page. And this is important because a lot of websites don't do this. They all link to the same page using the same anchor text. But these are different ways that we get do this. So what screws up anchor text variation? Well, consider if you link to your page in the navigation. So that's the first link. These are our friends at Spark Toro, a post by our friend Amanda, and they have a link that a lot of websites have, how it works in the top navigation. So this is great because we get a lot of links. Every page on our site links to this blog post or links to the how it works. But it's the same anchor text every time. So if you think of those two charts, one chart has kind of a decreasing relationship with traffic. The other chart has an increasing. Well, this has lots of links, but it only has one anchor text. Now compare that to this idea. We basically have this thing of anchor text canonicalization. I don't know if anchor text canonicalization is a thing, but imagine you're Google and you have 1,000 pages on your site with one nav link all pointing to the same page. When I started in SEO, I used to think, wow, I'm putting this link in the nav. Man, I'm going to have 1,000 links to this page. I'm really going to rank for how it works. Anyone who does this knows that that's not really how it works. If you put a link in your nav, it's not like you got 1,000 links all of a sudden. You really sort of got 1,000 links, but you got one anchor text variation. And we know if you've ever done this before, you don't really see that 1,000 link boost by putting a link in your navigation because it doesn't really work like that. And I think it's because Google is canonicalizing your anchor text signals. Even on your own site, if you have 2 different pages, they both happen to link to the, use the same anchor text. I'm not convinced you have 2 different links. You've got 2 different page ranks going into that page, but I'm not sure you have 2 different links because Google says, well, this one looks like this one. Let's just, throw them together. This is theory, by the way, not fact. Don't go to John Mueller and say, hey, Cyrus is talking about anchor text canonicalization. It's like, we don't do that. This is just a theory. All right. Now compare your navigation links to your text and body links. So we have links in the navigation, how it works, same on every page. But you put a link in your blog post and, well, you're going to have fewer links because, you have to add them one by one, but you have infinite anchor text. You can do a different anchor text on every single blog post. And we don't pay attention to these anchor texts very much, but the possibilities are a bit endless. So you have a little more flexibility here in your body links. So going back to the data, this is what we found when we started diving in. Remember when the chart went up and then started going down? Those down links, the links in the higher numbers, when you have 70, 80, 100, 200, 1,000, and we cut this chart off, the links at the top part of the chart that had those super high number of internal links, those tended to be navigation links. And so then it starts to make sense why we saw that negative decline after a certain point, because these pages were not being linked to, in the body. These were site-wide navigation links where we started to see that negative correlation again. And it could be because they didn't have as much anchor text variety. Not going to draw any conclusions yet at this point. So we see examples of this in the wild. Now, Backlinko sold to SEMrush along with the folks at Traffic Think Tank yesterday. Big congrats if any Traffic Think Tankers are watching. SEMrush is buying all the things. You can buy Zyppy at some point if you want. I don't really care. But anyway, Backlinko, hugely successful site. And this is his nav. This is Brian Dean's nav. If you've ever used Backlinko, he it's kind of hard to find stuff on his site because he has almost no navigation. Home, about, newsletter, kind of the prerequisite links, very minimal linking. But what that does is when he links to something, he can choose any anchor text he wants because he hasn't linked to it in his navigation. It gives him a lot of rich opportunities to do that. And you compare that to a site like Home Depot. Home Depot, if you live outside the United States, it's a big e-retailer here that helps you with home goods. They put everything in their navigation, absolutely everything. You can find any category, whatever, you can find it very easily in their nav. They put everything, so they kind of lose the opportunity to link, in their post using specified anchor text. But I have a theory about this, and I'm going to jump into theory again. Home Depot is a huge site, very popular site. It has lots of authority and lots of other sites linking to them. If you look at the anchor text of any particular page, they have tons of anchor text variety because everybody else all over the world is linking to them in their own way. So any given page on Home Depot already has tons of anchor text. This was just a random page. They had 75 different anchors from like 1,000 different websites. They don't need to worry about their own anchor text variety because everybody else is already giving it to them. Whereas Backlinko, Brian Dean, he's not as big as Home Depot. He might want more control in how he links to himself because he doesn't have 75 different anchors going to every single page. Just something to think about. And again, diving into the world of theory, but it makes sense. All right, so here's a question for the top 50% of those watching out there. What happens when you have a link in the navigation and lower down in the text, and they both link to the same page? What happens in that situation? So here's a post that I wrote from Oz, exact same situation. We link to our SEO tools in the navigation. But then if we wanted to write a post about it, I'll also link to those SEO tools. What happens when Google crawls this page, Googlebot's coming along, and it sees both these links? How does Google treat both of these when they see them at the same time? Are they treated equally? All right, so there's an old thing called first link priority. And this has been around in SEO for like 15 years. People don't even talk about it anymore, but it was a very big thing back in the early days of SEO and people trying to dissect Google's algorithm. And the advice we got from Google at the time, and several experiments confirmed, when Google sees a situation like this, they treat the links a little differently. The first link on the page, they give priority to, and that means it passes page rank and anchor text. Any other link on the page, unless it's an image, only gets page rank only, meaning we miss the anchor text. We lose the anchor text signal on that second link. It passes some page rank, but top-end SEO tools, according to the old legacy first link priority rules, I lose that second anchor text. And that sucks because I want that anchor text. I want top-end SEO tools. I'd love to get two anchor texts on the same page, but this is old school. This really outs you as a old person in SEO when you're talking about first link priority, but this is important. But I wondered, okay, the kids are using TikTok today. Is this still true in 2023? Should Cyrus Shepard, oldest SEO in the world, be talking about first link priority? So I wanted to test this. And I thought it was time to update some of our knowledge here. So I created a bunch of pages, and it turns out it's difficult, but you can test this. So I created a bunch of pages, added a bunch of links, all going to the same page. And thanks to Google, I was able to create a property in Google Search Console just for these pages, and I could go into the anchor text report. Google's link reporting is really difficult to use, but in situations like this, I was able to see all the anchor text that came into my particular test pages. So I could see exactly what anchor text Google was counting and which anchor text they were ignoring. So it was very effective in this case. It was hard to set up, and it took several weeks for Google to crawl and index and do everything, but I could see exactly which anchor text Google was recording and which they were ignoring. So let's go through some scenarios in my test and see how first link priority might work in 2023. All right, so here is my test page. Threw it together in a few minutes. In this first example, the first link is an image link. So it's going to use the alt text based on our previous rules. The second link is a regular text link. Now, according to the old rules of Google, we would expect Google to index both of these because whenever there is an image link first, Google tends to count the the second link. This is important if you run an e-commerce store and you have product images, and then you have maybe a link beneath it, opportunities to use 2 different anchor texts that a lot of people don't take advantage of. So ran this test and came back, yes, Google indexed both anchor texts. This is great. So if you have an image link and a text link, I have an opportunity to use 2 different anchor texts on this page. So that confirms that part of the theory. So let's set up something a little more complicated. Okay, so in this test, more links. Remember, all these are going to the same page, the same target. So first link, text link, second link, text link, third link is an image link. Now, according to the rules, the old rules, Google will pass PageRank through all these, but they may not pass anchor text through all these. So when I go into Google Search Console, I look for these anchor texts. What do I find? Interesting. Google counted the first link, ignored the second link entirely, not entirely, just the anchor text, and gave me the anchor text to the third link. So I wasted my anchor text on the second link. So this seems to confirm that Google is still using some sort of first link priority, where all these links pass PageRank, but only some of them are passing anchor text. Yeah, okay. Well, this is interesting because I often link to the same page more than once from the same URL. So how does this influence my strategy? All right, so we got a third test coming up. This was the most complicated of all. Text link, image link, text link. So based on what we know so far, based on first link priority, what would we predict would happen in this scenario? Text, text, image, text. Based on the rules of first link priority, this is what we would predict. Google would pass PageRank through all these if they rendered them, which isn't a guarantee, which is a whole nother webinar we'll get into some other time. But what we would expect is Google would give us the first anchor text, ignore the second anchor text, give us the image again. This is why it's important to use different anchor texts on your images, because Google's given you a freebie there, and not give you the last anchor text. All right, so what actually happened? All right, so before I reveal the results of this test, I have withheld information from you. I haven't been totally honest with you about this test. And since I want us to have a good relationship, I want you to trust me, I need to come clean. I cheated. I totally cheated on this last test because I wanted to get around rules that Google has put in place about first link priority. So yes, Cyrus Shepard is an SEO cheater. Don't put that on Twitter. All right. So back in the day, there was a rumor that if you used a hash URL, hash URL is just, you use these for jump links sometime. You don't have to use them for jump links. If you just put a hash in your URL, it will just go to the page, will resolve like normal. Or you can use a anchor and take visitors to a certain page. The rumor was, and the way people talked about getting around, one of the ways people talked around getting around first link priority was use these hash links. So on this test page here, that's what I did. After the first link, I used hash links for all the other links with the hopes that Google would start picking up the anchor text. And that is exactly what happened. When I implemented hash links, Google picked up every anchor text just by me using different URLs. So instead of 1 or 2 anchor text on this page, I now had 4 anchor text on the same page going to the same target. This improves my anchor text variations, which we saw in the first chart is associated with higher rankings. So I didn't waste those anchor texts. Everything's getting passed, and I can breathe a sigh of relief. So this is how it works in 2023. I don't know if Google will make changes to this. It seems to work. It's been working for them for 15 years. I would expect it to work a little bit longer, but let's not advertise this fact to Google. Let's not ruin a good thing. If any Googlers are watching, let's just keep this between ourselves.
Now, if you liked this ClearScope webinar snippet, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe so you don't miss out on more great tips and strategies from the industry's best SEOs and content marketers. Make sure to check out the ClearScope YouTube channel for more great content.